Hey girl, I want to tell you a story about the very first time that I really and truly understood energy. You know, we've heard this body in motion stays in motion and all this other stuff, but I remember it's probably been, gosh, more than 20 plus years ago. I was at a convention. I'm a hairstylist and four-time salon owner and a former platform artist, which is a person who travels the country and teaches new trends and inspires and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I was at a convention and it was actually a business convention, and there were people that could be nail techs, anything in the business, massage therapists. There was this really interesting girl there, and I wish I could find her now. Wow, in hindsight, but she was a massage therapist, but she was also a healer, and she would say that, and we kind of hung out in the mornings. We would do walking and that kind of thing, and my body was so fatigued at this time and so tense. I was working all the time, a single mother, two young children, traveling, but still, just living in hotels is just the pits. But in any case, I was just a wreck, and I tried to call to get massages at the nearby or at the hotel, and I just couldn't find anybody that was ready to go or close enough or working. And it's very unprofessional to ask somebody to help, but she just kept saying things about what she could do, because at the time I was infertile. Both my children are in vitro babies, by the way. But I was infertile. She said, oh, I can fix that. And then I would say something like my mother's knees were really bothering her, blah, blah, blah. And she said, well, I can fix that. And I thought, that's really wild. She was so confident about it, too. Very plain Jane. I think her name was Jane, by the way, but very plain Jane, very unsuspecting, I think is the word that I'm looking for. But very interesting character, very different character. And the conference went on for 3 days, plus or minus, I believe. And we were at the airport, and I honestly just could not stand myself anymore. I was so tense. I was just a bundle of nerves. And my back and my neck and everything about it, I was just a wreck. And she said something else about what she could do. And I said, okay, the plane's coming in 50 minutes. And you've been talking for 4 days now about what you could do. And I said, I'm wondering if I can just pay you. The conference is over. I didn't want to bother you, but I said, I'm just wondering if I can pay you to just help me for just a few minutes until that plane comes. And she said, okay, turn around. We were sitting in a booth together. So I turned my back to her, and she was here, and I could feel her hand behind me, and I thought, when is she going to dig in here? Because I was a wreck. And I'm like, when's she going to dig in? She said, just breathe. Just breathe. And I felt the need to breathe deeply. Like I just felt the need, and I started going. And then I just took off and really started breathing deeply. And I thought, she's not even going to touch me. But at a certain time, I just said, I don't care. It's the wildest experience of my life. So when a few minutes passed and I heard them call for my plane, and I spun around to thank her for what? She hadn't even touched me, but she was very close. And when I turned around to thank her, I looked at her hand where she had it up to my shoulders and my back. And people, I swear to you, it looked like someone had taken a ball-peen hammer and hit her hand, all different sizes. There was large places, small places, little places. And it made me feel so bad that I went, oh, and I tried to grab her hand. She said, don't touch it. Don't touch it. She said, let it go through me. Just let it go through me. And I stood there and watched all of those different sizes. There were probably 8 or so all over her hands, even her fingers, and some large, some small. And I watched them just disappear. She said, it'll go right through, but it's just like glass right now, and it'll feel like you broke it if you touch it. It was just the first real experience I had about energy and understanding it, and it just blew my mind. It opened my mind, too. When we talk about Girl Gets Your Glow Back, we talk about mental aspects. You have to open your mind to certain things. And I saw this with my own eyes, and I felt better. I was relieved. The plane ride was good on the way home, and just like all massage therapies, it didn't last forever. because you got to continue to do it. And I had her number, but I lost her number, and I tried to find her. I did find her card. She had moved. I don't know what became of her, but man, was she something. But this is when I really started studying and thinking about energy. And you don't know it, but you study energy as well, and I want you to become more intuitive about it. I want you to think about how you feel when you walk into a room and there's bad energy there. Think about that for a minute. Hold the time when you walk into the office and you know that people are talking about you, or you know somebody's in a bad mood. You feel it in your heart of hearts. How about walking onto an elevator and you just get, there's a somebody there, a person there, and you get a bad feeling. We're such kind people a lot of times that we won't step back off the elevator. We'll kind of muster it through, but that elevator door shuts and there's a lot of things that can happen there, especially if you have your children with you, or sometimes you'll feel that. I call it my eyebrows sweat. It feels when I'm almost in an accident or something, my eyebrows, I feel like I don't know how to explain, almost a tingle in my eyebrows, and you can feel it. Don't ignore those feelings. Now think about this in contrast. Think about when you're we have Six Flags here, we have lakes, and we have, you've probably been to a concert where everybody's excited and happy to see. You've probably been to Disney World or somewhere like that, church. There's good energy there. You have to start feeling that energy. And you have to also think about, if you're feeling that energy from other people, you have to realize and understand that you're putting off energy as well. What does your body say? What does your face say? What does your energy say when you walk into the room? Have you ever thought about that? Well, I want you to start thinking about that, because you are just an absolute vessel of energy, just like just about everything is in this world. And you've got to realize that energy is bouncing back to you. You attract people that have a negative energy when you have a negative energy, but by the same token, you attract people who have a wonderful energy if you have one. If they see in your heart, if they open up. I'm one of these people that for some reason, I don't know, I don't get it. I'm nearly 6 feet tall, and I'm kind of intimidating looking. I'm not a skinny girl, but for some reason, people tell me everything, and I think it's my energy. I think they know I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to let them talk, or maybe they just don't get to talk. I don't know, but there's something about it. But I also attract people and it's just fascinating to me. I will attract the most interesting people when my mind is super open and when I'm in a great mood. I will hear the most interesting stories. I'll sit beside the most interesting people in a restaurant, or if I have to wait at the bar, or if I'm on an airplane. The most interesting people. Plus, now I'm attracting people that I need to help me, especially with things like this channel. You can attract people too. You are attracting what you think about expands. And if you are thinking negatively, you will continue to attract negative people to you. And now, I will say, when you're a positive person, sometimes you can attract people who are negative, who are trying to get your light. And you do have to be very careful about that. That's a really big deal. You have to understand it. You have to know. But you want to be, especially when you're not well. And I'm not well right now. I'm just going to admit that. I'm getting well. I'm healing, but I'm not there yet. So I have to be careful, because I can't have someone draining my energy. I can only have people that are adding to or making my energy better. And that's what you have to concentrate on. Now, how do you do that? At work, you've got to be around people who, if there's bad energy in the room and there's somebody that's over there that's, I used to say it's like a dark cloud is over in that side of the room, and you know that it's bad. You can't hardly get along with them, but you think, what put them here? What made them like that? What is it that's happened to them in their life that has made them act that way or feel that way? And then you have to have empathy for them, but you don't have to hang out with them. If you got people in your family that do not encourage you, they're always discouraging or talking negatively, or always talking about their health or their poor health. Some people really enjoy their poor health, and I want you to not get in that position. When you start talking to people, or if I talk to people on the plane, they never know I have cancer. They never know that I've been sick or ill. If it comes up, it comes up through them, and maybe if I feel like I can add something to it. But I bet you that I'm talking to someone right now that within 4 sentences, they will talk about what's going on with them and what's wrong with them, instead of what's right, or instead of encouraging that other person. So this is what you have to remember. Everybody's favorite subject is them. That's just pretty much a really good rule to follow. And if you have somebody you're having a tough time with, when you can't avoid it, a family member, or if it's a person at work that has a negative attitude or a dark attitude, a dark energy about them, you just have to talk about them, and you have to smooze. You have to bring things to them. You have to tell them you thought about them, or you just have to keep on until you get to their heart and they see that you care. Because sometimes these people are coming to work and they have a terrible home life. They have things happening there that they carry on to work or bring into different places where you meet them, and as a result, they really can't help it. They need your help. And if you'll just kind of look at everybody like that, as in, you know, there's no telling what happened to them to get them here. I'm going to tell you a story about a dear, dear friend of mine whose father was abusive growing up, and she just had the worst time. It still does. But when she was a full-blown adult, now they had gone on all kinds of vacations and stuff as they were growing up, and that kind of thing, and plenty of opportunities at lakes and that kind of thing. She never noticed that he always had his shirt on. But one day, as a full-blown adult, she saw his back for some reason, and he had scars and welts from getting beaten when he was a child. And therefore, you know how they say it's a cycle. And therefore, you know, he probably did quite well to not treat them worse than he did, honestly. He was trying to break the cycle, and did a lot of things to try to break the cycle, but he was just tormented, and he was tormented because of what happened to him, and it is a vicious cycle. So my girlfriend found relief in that. She knew then that he had been abused himself, and he was struggling. He couldn't talk to anybody about it. Just imagine that. And all of his life, he was just a butthead, and she just never knew why, or why he would act like that, or why he had to be so damaging to them. But he was damaged himself, and as we hear, hurt people hurt. So I just want to talk to you about, not only about your energy and your energy when you walk into the room, and that's what this person has. This person that you hold in your mind that has a glow about them. They can be living or dead. They can be a famous person or not. But just hold in your mind the image of a person, and I'm thinking about somebody right now. And it's not always female, I can tell you that. But you know, when you think about them, physically they're put together. You know, they're pretty aware of themselves physically. Mentally, they're usually making you feel good about yourself, and that's what I'm trying to tell all of us that have sicknesses. We have to come out of ourselves, come away from us, and we have to start helping others. There are people always in worse shape than you, always in worse shape, and you just have to find a way to give so that you can get out of your own head. But that person's giving mentally, they're usually positive. They usually have a smile on their face. They laugh easily, right? And that's a beautiful thing. And then spiritually, they seem to be put together. They know where they're going if they do die. They know. It doesn't mean it's just Christianity. It could be any form of spirituality, any religion, anything that works for them. But they've got this glow, and they know. And so when we're talking today in each one of these aspects in each post, but in this one we're talking about mentally. Mentally, you have to fake it until you make it. And you have to realize that there's a mirror in front of you at all times, and that's reflecting back to you every bit of energy that you put out. It attracts the wrong people if it's negative. It attracts amazing people if you are positive, especially when you're in those waiting rooms, people. We all have to go to waiting rooms. There's like a sociology class in there. There's all kind of people there. There's people that are so sick. I try to take cards or buttons or something that's maybe got a quote on it, and just hand it around. And then it's just so interesting hearing the stories and hearing about natural cures right there in the doctor's office. I heard somebody talk about a book. I wish I could think of the book. I wrote it down, but I can't find it. There's all kind of very interesting people and positive people that are in those rooms, but you just have to kind of, I walk into a room and I kind of feel the room. It doesn't matter if it's a restaurant, a waiting room, or whatever it happens to be. Just kind of feel the room. And I just ask to be led, and I'll be led over. And, I'll just meet the most interesting people. And I've tried to stop being surprised about it, but it is fascinating. It is fascinating to watch. So if you can keep yourself up here on this magic carpet, and you can get people up here on the magic carpet with you, it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. And how do you do that? You just have empathy for people that don't have it. You get around and get up close to and noogie up against people who do have it. And you just remember that everything you put out is coming back. Karma is a real thing. It really is. And it's a beautiful experience. I wish I could stay up there all the time. I'm working on it, but it's not easy to stay up, and especially if you're ill, you don't feel well and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to talk to you about energy today. I want you to know that it is real, it's alive, it's well, and you are in control of this, girl. You have the ability to make yourself well. I don't care if you believe me right now or not. Today could be the changing day. Today could be the hours from now. You could just say, I'm getting up. Right after you listen to this video, you're like, I'm getting up, damn it. I'm getting up, I'm getting out of this bed, or I'm starting anew. If you need some help with coaching, if you need a little push, give me a message. I'll be happy to talk with you. We'll get a plan put together, and then you watch these videos, and I'm going to tell you something. 30 days with this, applying the principles, and I'll guarantee you people will be asking you what's different about you. You are special. You were made in God's likeness and image. It means you have everything that our God has. And so you have the abilities. We just haven't been taught it. We've been pushed down. We don't know about it. But then you got these people that pop up everywhere, and they're like, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? How'd they do that? It's there. And you have privilege. You have the opportunity to get there. So let's work together. Let's work on getting our glow black. Subscribe to this channel. Make sure to comment. Make sure to put thumbs up so that the algorithms will get us some more people. And as a result, you may be looking at the comments on here one day, and you may find a soulmate. And I'm not talking about a sexual soulmate. I'm talking about a soulmate that you were supposed to meet. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to be a support group, and it's going to work out really wonderful for all of us. So I'll look forward to seeing you. Get that energy up, keep it up, and let's get that glow back.